Hi Rompereglas. In this video, I want to talk to you about the 4 major blocks to authentic power. But before I do that, I want to let you know that there's a growing Facebook communities of Rompereglas like you who are looking for community, who are looking for connection, and who are looking to explore topics of authentic power and liberated leadership. So click on the link in my bio or the link below, and we'll see you there. All right, so let's get into it. The 4 major blocks to authentic power. So I just want to begin by saying that these blocks are rooted in capitalism, in colonialism, in patriarchy, all of which we're surrounded by and we absorb as we come into these bodies and move through life. We absorb them through our interactions with these systems, but also with our families who have also internalized these systems. So I just want to say that from the get-go. So the first block to authentic power is shame, vergüenza. And you've probably heard people say things like, que sin vergüenza, almost like to not have shame is a bad thing. And yeah, we know what they're getting at. We know that they're meaning that they're shameless. And yet, wouldn't it be nice to not experience ourselves as being fundamentally bad in some way? You know, that's really what shame says. It says, I am fundamentally flawed. There's something wrong with me. I'm a failure. I am unlovable. I'm bad. Versus guilt, which is I did something bad, which you can come back from. You can't come back from shame. You are bad, period. Okay, so the second block to authentic power is lack. That can show up in the form of I am weak, I'm not enough, I'm boring, I don't matter, etc. So I want you to take a moment to just identify, based on what I've said, is there a shame block somewhere in there? There might be, and there might also be a block around lacking, that you don't have some quality, some important quality needed in order to bring this bigger vision of yourself or to feel powerful. So inside there is sort of a little bit of a collapse there. So the third block to authentic power is isolation. So when I say isolation, I don't just mean from other people, right? Because community is so important, especially when doing the deeper healing work that's needed to really bring out our best selves. I actually also mean isolation from our spirit selves and from a connection to source power. Connection to spirit is really important because there may be times that you won't have the support system you need to really move forward in your healing process or in your, coming into your power or into your leadership and bringing your bigger vision into the world. So it's important for you to feel that there's even though that those concrete connections aren't there, that you do feel connected to a bigger plan and that the spark in you is connected to a bigger spark in the universe. All right, so last but not least is doubt. I'm sure that you've found yourself in situations where you come up with a great idea or you have this inspiration, this sudden inspiration to do something kind of big and kind of fabulous, and you start sort of fantasizing about where it could go. And then after a time, these questions start to creep in, which I think is really the inner critic in disguise as this sort of benevolent, are you sure you want to do that? Is there anyone else that's already done this? So it begins to cut into and chip away at the creative juice and the joy of creation itself. And so I really want you to feel in this moment, as we talk about shame and lack and isolation and doubt, how they really majorly slow down or even stop the whole process of creation and movement in your life. So I want to leave you with some questions. Maybe you want to journal about these things a little bit. So I want you to ask yourself first, what are some early life experiences that you've had where you might have adopted a framework or a belief around shame or lack, right? You may not have a concrete memory, or you may have a sense of something, maybe not a specific experience, but sort of a general flavor. And I want you to think about 0 to 6 as the time frame to focus on. And so I want you to think about, when you visualize that in your head, I want you to think about, what are the conclusions I came to? In my child mind, in my child body, what are some of the conclusions I came to? Third, I want you to think about and maybe write about, what are the decisions that I made in that moment? So when I say decisions, I don't mean a cognitive decision. I mean like a decision in your body. How am I going to deal with this situation? Again, from the framework of the child mind and the child body, right? If a child is being rejected, they're gonna adopt a framework or a belief system of, I'm too much. Clearly, I'm not wanted here. And the decision would be, I will pull away. It might be, I will hide who I really am, or I will please others in order to be accepted. All right, fourth question. How does that decision show up in your everyday life? How does it show up in your communication style? How does it show up in your relational style? How does it show up in your leadership style? How does it show up in your romantic relationship or in your relationship with your body? So take some time to journal or meditate about this and just see what you come up with. So questions 5, 6, and 7 kind of go together, so I'll talk about them together. So I want you to ask yourself, who am I without this belief? Right? In this moment, who am I without this belief? And can I give it up? Right? What would happen if I gave it up? Am I attached to it somehow? Is it part of my identity? How much part of my identity is it? And what would happen, right, in my relationships with my work if I would give it up? And is there any resistance to giving it up, right? Is there part of me that's, again, attached to it? All right, 8th question. What am I avoiding feeling? Right? What is holding on to shame, lack, isolation, and doubt, keeping me from feeling? If you dig deep enough, I'm sure you'll find something. And so the step after that, right, is when you start to turn it around. What higher knowing is here? What's the deeper truth here? Right? When you start to feel into at the level of the soul, what is the higher truth that you can access that really, confronts the lie? Because it really, these are lies that we tell ourselves all the time. The lie of shame and lack and isolation and doubt. And as a last step, I want you to really imagine, and not fantasize, but really imagine without limits what your life would look like without this belief. And yes, I know that, many of you have multiple beliefs. We all have sort of multiple beliefs around shame or lack or isolation and doubt. But I want you to pick one for the sake of this exercise and really take it deeper. Really go all the way with it. Okay. So happy writing. I hope that was helpful to you. And thanks for watching till the end. Please post in the comments below if this was helpful or not and what you want to see more of in the future. Again, click on the link below or in the bio if you want to join our community of Romper Reglas. Bye!